YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Don't be scared or startled by the title of this video. This video is actually not any kind of announcement that you may be expecting. This video is just a Q&A. I'm going to be answering some of your guys' questions. I asked you on Instagram and Twitter to leave me questions that you guys had so I could do a Q&A. It's been a while since I've done one and I see a surprising amount of inaccurate information about me floating around the internet, so I just figured let's start doing some Q&As. I got a lot of questions and I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them, otherwise this video would be way too long, so I just picked 10 randomly and I'm going to do this video on those 10, and then I'm going to be doing more videos in the future about the other questions that I was asked, and if I need any more questions I will post on Instagram or Twitter if you guys want to participate. So make sure that you're following me on all my social medias, because you never know when I'm gonna do something like this and you can finally get the chance to get that answer that's been burning in your mind about me. So yeah, I'm gonna be answering a bunch of questions. One of them is regarding marriage and me and Enrico, so hang on tight and keep watching to get all of your answers. Well, not all of them, just 10. The first question comes from Twitter. It is from Gabriel Weiston, and he says, being American and extracomunitaria, how do you plan on legally staying in Europe? Asking because soon I will be in the same boat. Well, luckily, Italy is pretty nice in the sense that if you graduate here with an Italian degree, whether it be a laurea or a magistrale, so a bachelor's or a master's degree, they give you some time to find a job here, and they also make the conversion from the student status to the worker status pretty easy. You pretty much just have to find a job, sign the contract, and do the conversion. There's very little that the employer has to do, and with respect to other things, it's more or less straightforward. So what I did was, once I graduated, I opened a partita IVA, which is like a self-employed. When you're self-employed, you open this thing so you can pay taxes, the right amount of taxes. So I did that for like my YouTube channel and all of the freelance work that I do online. And with that, I was able to convert my student permesso di soggiorno to a permesso di soggiorno of lavoro autonomo. And with this permesso di soggiorno of lavoro autonomo, I'm able to do my own thing. I'm able to stay here legally for 1 year, and next year when I renew it, it will be worth 2 years. So that's pretty much 3 years that I can still stay here on my YouTube thing, because my online work generates enough money and meets all the requirements for self-employed work. So you can do something like that. Like if you do like English tutoring or anything really that makes money and you have an Italian degree, you can convert your permesso once you graduate. And I think that's really the easiest way to go about staying here. The good thing about this permesso di lavoro autonomo is it doesn't limit you, because you can actually still work for an Italian company with this permesso. Which is what I'm essentially going to be doing. I'm starting an internship in January, and if that internship turns into a real job, then I can use this permesso to start that, and then once I'm sure that it's going to be a real concrete job, I just convert it from lavoro autonomo to lavoro subordinato. And if you like get fired or something, you can reopen a partita IVA and convert it from subordinato to autonomo. So there's a bunch of ways. It's not as hard as I expected. Of course, it's not easy, but there are ways. So that's how I'm doing it, but you can do your research and find other ways that could work better for you. Un semplice utente asked me if I had any famous professors at Bocconi. I had one. His name is not coming to me right now, but he taught the class of international economics, and then a few weeks after the first course, we saw him on TV. So yep, apparently he's famous, but if you mean like Tito Boeri or Mario Monti, no. Azo Ciale asked essentially if I think there will ever be a United States of Europe and if I would want that. Yeah, I do. I'm all for, it could fix a lot of Europe's problems. It could cause new problems, but I don't know. I really feel like a global citizen. I feel like a citizen of the world, and I'm all for people uniting. And if there's anything that's going to make it easier to live a more international life where you can move from country to country, then I'm kind of going to be for that. So a United States of Europe, this might be a controversial thing to say, but yeah, I'd be all for it. Whether I think it's possible and whether I think it's going to happen, I don't know. As we've already seen, Europeans are very nationalistic, and they're also very, even within nations, they're very regionalistic. And so I don't know how easy or how possible it would be to make something like that a federal union. Kaza Chiesi asks, as a fellow expat living here for 26 years, do you see yourself living here for more years or heading back to the States? For right now, I definitely see myself here. I have a lot of things going for me here, so I want to stay here. A lot of people ask me if I have any plans to return to the States. Honestly, to live and work, no. To visit my family and friends, yes. If I have kids in the future, of course, I'm going to want them to have a connection with my home and my culture, so they'll be visiting there pretty often. But me, myself, I see myself living in Europe. Another question that people always ask me is whether I'll stay in Italy forever. And to that, I say I'm 21 years old and forever is a really long time. I don't know. Honestly, it comes down to the partner that I'm with, because I've said to Enrico lots of times, if it ends up that he graduates from chemical engineering, which is a super hard degree and a super high paying job, and he's not able to find adequate work here in Italy, I'm not averse to going back to the States for a couple years for him so he can work and we can like make our fortunes together in America, and then we come back and have the kids here. Like, we've talked about this, so that would be the only way I think right now that I see myself moving back to America. But if anything, if I'm way more likely to move to another European state than I am to move back to America. That's just where I am right now. Kiara on Twitter asks, how do you avoid letting the hate get to you, especially since Americans and Italians are very different when it comes to being woke? I don't know, I think she's talking about the hate here on YouTube. Honestly, I just try to ignore it. It's super hard, but I'm getting better at it. Honestly, after so many times of reading the same insults, they do lose their touch. You guys don't really see them because a lot of comments go directly into spam and directly into bad words. So I have really strict filters on my comment section, and a lot of comments, even if they don't need to be, go into spam. And so yeah, I don't know, after being called negra so many times, or nigger, or being told to go back to my own country, or to shut up, or whatever, it really doesn't really hurt me anymore. You sadly enough, being on the internet, this is just something that you get used to, and it's a pro and a con. It's a con because, man, you're used to all of that negativity, but it's a pro because it gives you really thick skin, and it means it's really hard for people to hurt me with their words. Let's move on to some of the questions that I got on Instagram. Okay, Samster Spam asks me, what are my favorite kinds of workouts? I prefer core body workouts, workouts that work on my abs. I'm really obsessed with having like a flat muscular stomach, even though I don't have one. And yeah, I don't really like things that work on my arms, because after 7 years of being a cheerleader and, you know, like lifting people and doing all of that conditioning, I came out with really huge monstrous arms that I personally, on me, I don't love them, and they're still quite muscular, so I don't really do a lot of work on my arms. I just want to have firm arms, not necessarily muscular. I also like workouts on the thighs because I like having toned thighs, and it also helps with the shape of the booty, which I love the shape of the booty. So yeah, abs and thighs, but in terms of like running, cardio, I'm not in love with all of that. Oh, and I recently got into yoga, and I'm obsessed with it because afterwards you feel like you worked out, but it's not as painful as like running or something more intensive, and it's also so relaxing. I don't know how it's possible, but every time I do yoga, I finish feeling just is it Zen? Is that what they say? I love yoga. If you haven't tried yoga yet, you should really look into it. I never thought I would have gotten into yoga, but then I did. Namaste. Anthony Ferro asked if I would ever move to another city, and if so, which one? Actually, a lot of people ask me a question like similar to this. Have I ever been to any other Italian cities, or would me and Enrico ever consider living in any other Italian cities? Honestly, we talk about this pretty often as well, and it'll be just like he'll call out a city and I'll say like, yeah, but, and then I'll call out a city and he'll be like, yeah, but, and we found that Milan is the one that has the least issues. So probably for our younger lives, especially our working lives, we're probably going to live in Milan. And then we said that we want the first apartment or like home that we buy to be in Milan, not necessarily center, but still in the urban area of Milan where the metro is reachable. And then when we want to settle down and have like kids, we're thinking to move to like one of the periphery of Milan, maybe like Monza, we heard is pretty nice. So you're not like too far from Milan, but you're not in like the city with like all the pollution and the hubbub and the weird people. Yeah, and then we'd rent out the one that we bought in the center to pay off the mortgage of the one in the periphery. And at some point we would love to buy like a vacation house in Marche, so then we could have summers by the sea. If we were to live anywhere, like, I love Marche as a region. I think it's beautiful, I think it's calm, and I think it's a great place to raise a family. But in terms of like working opportunities, especially for me, the foreigner, there aren't so many. And even for him, the Italian, if you work in like chemical engineering, what are you gonna do in a small place like Fano? So the real issue is there a place where you can live well and have working opportunities? And so far, and be happy and enjoy yourself. And so far, Milan has kind of been the only one that satisfies the most boxes for us. But I don't know, like I said in another question, I'm only 21, and these are some like long-term life questions that I don't even know the answers to. I think that, in short, if there's any other cities that I would live in, probably not. No. I like Milan. For right now, I can only see myself in Milan or near Milan. Call Me Phoebe asks, do I have any advice for anybody moving to another country? My advice would be to learn the language as fast as possible. The language is the key to making friends, getting to know the culture, making bureaucracy easier. If you know the language, things become completely different. The experience of somebody living in Italy that doesn't have a good grasp of the Italian language is completely different than somebody that does, and I found that somebody that does enjoys living here way more. And so that would be my number one advice to anybody moving to a foreign country. But my number two advice, if you already know the language, would be to go with an open mind, because the culture is probably going to be very different from yours. And the longer it takes for you to accept that, the harder it's going to be to adapt to your new place. But the sooner you have an open mind and you just take things for what they are, the happier you'll be. Camilla999 asks, are you studying at Bocconi or are you working? What are your goals for the future? Actually, right now I'm done studying. Right now in this moment, I'm working freelance. I got a bunch of freelance jobs lined up on like the internet via the social medias and this YouTube channel. But then from January, I'm supposed to be starting this internship in digital marketing at an Italian company. It's a pretty big Italian company. I'm super excited to see just like the other side of this world and to get a foot into the more traditional working place. And then after that, honestly, I would hope to go on to get another job at another company, but also keep all of the stuff that I'm doing online. I have decided that I want to do both. Since I cannot decide what I want to do with my life, I'm always so indecisive, and there's pros and cons to everything. I want to try to do everything. So those are my plans, and eventually in a couple of years I'd love to go back to school and get an MBA. An MBA is a master's in business administration, so it's a master's degree in business, but it's supposed to be like super practical and really enriching in that sense. I don't want to do another degree that's just stuffed with theory, and I feel like I'm wasting time, because in order to dedicate myself 100% to that kind of studies, I'd have to like take myself away from other things I'm doing, and I don't really know that I want to do that, at least not right now. So the goal is to go on and get an MBA, in short. Madam Zen asks, when you get married to your boyfriend, will it be in the US or Italy? So I think this is kind of two questions, because how do you know we're getting married? No, I mean, I think we're gonna get married. We've been together now for 3 years. We've been friends for 5. We really love each other. We live together, and we talk about marriage in the future a lot. So from right now, unless something crazy happens, yeah, I would say me and Enrico probably will get married within the next few years. I definitely want it to be before the age of 30. The age of 25, 26, 27 would be cool, but we have to wait for both of us to have a stable jobs. That's pretty much our agreement, that it would be better to get married and start like a future once we both have stable jobs. So that's whether we're going to be getting married. And then where we're going to be getting married, I would say Italy, because it's just so it's so much easier to find like a nice place to do things. Where I'm from in America, Norwich, Connecticut, I can't think of a place that I'd really want to get married there. So you'd have to travel, and then if we travel, you got to get all the guests from Italy and have places for them to stay, and then you have to organize for all the guests in America. Whereas here it would just be easier. I mean, we can choose between Milan or Marche, and it's cheaper for people to come from America to Italy than it is to go from Italy to America. But another big contender is getting married in Jamaica, because I have a lot of family in Jamaica and things are really cheap in Jamaica and really beautiful in Jamaica. So I feel like it would be really easy to put together a nice, breathtaking, nice small wedding, because I want a small wedding there, and it would be pretty easy to like get all of our family and friends there. The tickets from Italy to Jamaica are surprisingly cheap right now. I bought a round trip to Jamaica for 550 euros, you guys. That's less than one trip from Milan to New York, one way, just saying. So yeah, it would be pretty easy to get everybody there, and since we have a lot of family in Jamaica, it would be pretty easy to have everybody accommodated, and it would just be so beautiful. The weather would most likely be nice, and so yeah, if we don't find something in Italy, we'd probably get married in like Jamaica, honestly. So yeah, you guys, those are the 10 questions that I chose for this Q&A. If I didn't get to your question, don't worry. Like I said, in the next few weeks, I'm gonna post another video with more of the questions that I didn't answer today. Be sure to be following me on my other social media so you can be in the loop the next time that I ask for questions for a Q&A, and you can get your questions answered. I hope that you guys like this video. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them there. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.